Hi everyone and welcome to today's morning report on Friday the 17th of July with me, Rich Pro Market Analyst. That's Handtech Markets. European trading session has got off to a fairly cautious start actually. It's basically coming with this debate that's going on in the Bundestag now over whether to allow the Greeks to have their bailout. And that is sort of driving a little bit of caution through European markets, basically down about sort of 0.3% on sort of FTSE CAC and DAX. Interesting that that's coming on the back of also we've had yesterday Mario Draghi fairly supportive of the euro or the Greek bailout project, allowing the ELA, the ECB allowed the ELA to be raised by 900 million euros. And also they've allowed the Greeks to have 7 billion euros worth of sort of bridge financing, which will help them to pay their immediate debts, including the 3.5 billion euros that it owes the ECB on Monday. It will also allow the Greek banks to reopen, which is obviously important thing for the Greek economy. Greek banks reopening on Monday, apparently, although the capital controls will still be in place. Now, what impact is this having across the markets? Well, we've got the dollar, which is slightly lower today. I think just generally the euro is just stabilising a little bit. Sterling's a little bit higher on the back of some fairly hawkish comments from Mark Carney, which suggested that there could be the MPC may be looking towards thinking about rate hikes around the turn of the year, which is interesting because the market at the moment is pricing in probably mid-2016 for a rate hike on UK interest rates, and that's just dragging sterling higher today. Now, interesting that we've seen the German Bund yield just stabilise a little bit after just coming back yesterday. It's just or in the last few days, it's just started to stabilise once more, and that could also be helping to sort of have an impact on the euro as well. Now, in terms of economic data that we've got to look forward to today, nothing really out from the European session, but we do have the US data, the big US data that starts at 1:30 with the CPI. Now, CPI in the States last month was flat at 0.0. It's expected to come in at 0.1% today, so slightly up, and also the core data is expected to improve slightly to 1.8% as well. And then at also 1:30, you've got the housing data. You've got building permits and housing starts. Building permits expected to just drop slightly back to 1.15%. 1.5 million. However, obviously last month was incredibly strong at 1.28 million. And then housing starts expected to improve back to 1.11 million. So that would be strong housing data pretty much across the board there. Then at 3 o'clock, we've got the Michigan sentiment, the flash reading of that, the preliminary first look at Michigan sentiment for this month, 96.0. This Reuters data is the preliminary from last month, so 94.6, but that was subsequently revised higher, and the final reading to 96.1. So basically, the flash preliminary reading is expected to be pretty much in line with that final data of last month. So that takes me on to my chart today, which is the DAX. Now we've had the DAX rallying strongly in the past sort of week and a half, 8 days, up around 10% in that time, and we've seen a breakout above that key resistance that came around 11,635. Now that was big resistance because it also marked the old support of that key low from March. So it's a big level to, I think, for the DAX to take out on the upside and close strongly above it as well. Now also you look at the momentum indicators as well. RSI up at a 3-month high. MACD lines beginning to sort of turn a bit more positive. Stochastics in positive territory as well. So it's a pretty decent move actually we've seen in this DAX, and it certainly looks like the outlook is improving. Now this is the hourly chart, and you can see that breakout above that high, 11,635. Now what I'll do here is draw you in an uptrend. See if we can get an uptrend here. Ooh, it's actually beginning to now, in the last sort of couple of hours, really beginning to test that uptrend that we've seen. Bit of a consolidation in this DAX, in this move that we've seen today, down sort of 0.2%, but I think it's sort of going to be a bit of a correction because you've had all these gaps higher and you've never really filled any of them. So I think it's just going to be a near-term correction, potentially back towards that breakout level of 11,620 on that daily chart, and I think that would help to unwind some of the immediate overbought position that we've had on the DAX, because obviously this hourly RSI is quite stretched, but that doesn't mean to say that the indicators are not strong still, and I think it would just be unwinding and you're giving another chance to get in, because I think this DAX is probably going to start to move higher now. We've had this improvement in the Greek bailout deal, and it certainly looks, I think, ultimately going to be pushing higher towards that next resistance at 11,920, which is that May high. So I'd be using dips on this DAX chart as a chance to buy, as I think it's going to be going higher. But there's a pretty decent band of support around that 11,500 area as well. So 11,500 to 11,620 I think is a pretty decent area for just an unwinding correction if you did see one today. So I wish you good luck in your trading on DAX today, and I'll speak to you later. Thank you.